What's going on, everybody? Scott Bogman here for Betting Pros to give you my favorite picks and props for Week 13 of the college football season. I hope you guys have enjoyed the coverage this year. And let me remind you guys that before we jump in, if you are looking to up your game in sports betting, you can join our exclusive sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. Not only can you connect with expert handicappers who provide free picks for the NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, player props, live betting, and more, but now you can also participate in our weekly community picks, cast your vote, and see how your picks stack up against the experts and track your success. Let's first start with how Week 12 went. Again, picks good, props bad, so we keep flip-flopping on this. 5-2 on the week. That would put me at exactly 500, 57 and 57 on the season. Penn State, we got minus 7.5. They cleared that at Michigan State, 28-10. Ole Miss did not cover against Florida here, 34-24. Texas versus Georgia over did not hit because Texas did not do their part. 35-10 was the final in that game. The total was 49.5. We did get North Texas over 42.5 at UAB. We did get UNC under 16.5 at Wake Forest. 28-12 was the final there. We also got BYU minus 3.5 versus TCU. They won 44-13. And we hit the hard rock bet of the week for Utah minus 7.5 at Baylor. They won 55-28. The props really got me here, 3-7 this week. So one game above 500 on the props now, 60-59. So one game over 500 for the whole year. But the touchdowns got me. I've been great at these all year, and they just really got me this week. Didn't get any. Jonah Coleman was a surprise unavailable for Washington there. And he was on the injury report earlier, but he was completely taken off, not even probable. So that was a surprise. So we skipped that one, but the other four I didn't hit. Heinz King didn't get two. He didn't get any. First game, he didn't get any against Boston College. Jeff Sims versus West Virginia didn't hit. Avery Johnson, somehow K-State only scored 14. Trey Green didn't get in the end zone, but we did get the pick from Josh Hoover. We got Ahmad Hardy almost had 300 rushing yards for Missouri against Mississippi State, or he did have 300. And we also got Ryan Wingo over 58.5. The other ones we missed, Rayleigh Brown, 80.5 rushing yards. It was Jeff Sims, had more rushing yards and no touchdowns. And then Harlan Berry, 57.5. He was 52. And Cooper Barkate, 45, probably my worst call. 70.5 was his. But like I said, 3-7 on the props, 5-2 on the picks. So one game over 500 on everything. Let's get to the Week 13 picks here, and I have a lot. This is, I said deeper in the season we should get better. We had a good week on picks last week, so we're going to follow that up with a lot of selections here. And the first one, we're going to go Washington State at James Madison, under 42.5. This one, we have only seen James Madison play one really hard game. That was against Louisville. They lost that 128-14, but the defense was great. They held Louisville to under 300 yards. We've also seen Washington State go on the road and hold some of these really good teams. They held Virginia to 22 points, and they held Ole Miss to 24. So the defense for Washington State has stepped up ever since weeks 3 and 4. They have been outstanding since then, and we're just going to rely on the defense for them. And the one tough game that we saw James Madison play this year was against Louisville, and their defense held up. So I don't know if the offense is going to hold up for James Madison. I'm predicting it's not. I don't know if Washington State's going to score at all. Their offense has been pathetic recently. So don't want to pick a side, but we're going to take the under on this one. We're going to go Vanderbilt team total over 31.5. This is one of my favorite bets of the week. More on this game later, but Vandy, I just don't really buy this Kentucky streak, right? Kentucky's been great recently. They beat Auburn. They beat Florida. They beat Florida bad. They were in it against Texas. This team has been pretty good. They put up a lot of points against Tennessee. I just think that you can poke holes in all those. Texas is not as good as we thought. Hugh Freeze's team quit. Auburn quit, and he got fired the next week, and then we saw them play with effort and score 38 points last week. I'm just not really buying into Kentucky. So Vandy has been scoring on everybody. Even when they were losing against Texas, they didn't quit. They kept fighting to come back in that game, and they put up 31 points in that game as well. So I think against a worse team, I think they can do this pretty easily. 31.5 at home should be easy for them to clear. Arkansas, Texas over 57.5. Look, I'm just going to use the same process I took last week and move it forward this week. I think this one can hit. Arkansas can score on anybody, and they can't stop anybody. It's a pretty good indication that Texas will be able to put up points. Texas has to win out. There's no margin for error there for them anymore. I think they do the heavy lifting. Also, Taylor Green has been taking chances. I believe he's third or fourth in turnover-worthy plays in the country right now among quarterbacks. So I just think Texas scores a lot of points, does most of it, and Arkansas comes in a little bit later. Utah minus 17.5 versus Kansas State. We're going to make sure Dampier's playing. He's going to start. Just no surprise weirdness like we had with Jonah Coleman because Dampier was all the way off the injury report. He might be able to clear this with Bird. We saw Kansas State only able to muster 14 points against Oklahoma State last week. So, they just lost their best wide receiver as well. Kansas State did in Chase Brown. So, I think Utah minus 17.5. They have just been stomping everyone in recent weeks. So, I think this is just another one of those results. Pitt at Georgia Tech over 60.5 in this game. Look, I just think that in every non-Notre Dame game, Pitt has put up a lot of points. Georgia Tech is scoring on anybody, right? But their defense, particularly the last 2 weeks, has been really bad against the pass. Pitt is one-dimensional in their offense in that they pass at a 65% clip, but Georgia Tech is not great against the pass. They don't rush the passer very well. I think this one is easily achievable. 60.5. I think we go way over this one. BYU minus 2.5 at Cincinnati. I don't understand why the public is on Cincinnati here. BYU has been beating everyone in the Big 12 that isn't Texas Tech and beat down everybody that isn't Utah or Texas Tech. So they've literally cleared this 2.5 against every other Big 12 team. So I think going on the road at Cincinnati, and in particular the time of possession, Cincinnati is dead last, top 15 for BYU. I think that just feeds into what BYU wants to do. When they get a lead, they can pin their ears back and get after Sorsby. I just don't think this is a good spot for Cincinnati right now. BYU still has playoff hopes. So I think BYU gives maximum effort. Tough road game. We're going to go North Texas minus 18.5 at Rice and over 55.5. Look, we're just riding this train. BP is showing closer to 3 touchdowns as the line for North Texas here. Rice has been bad. North Texas, another team that still has hope for the playoffs. So I think we're going to see their best effort. I think they get almost all, if not all, of this total. They have been putting up 50 burgers on a lot of teams, and Rice is not good. Delaware, team total under 16.5 at Wake Forest. We're just following this trend, right? UNC couldn't get to their team total at Wake Forest last week. I don't think that Delaware is going to be able to either. Delaware has been a decent offensive team, but obviously playing a much weaker strength of schedule. Going on the road to Wake Forest is a massive challenge for them. So we're going to take the under 16.5 against one of the better defenses in the ACC there in Wake Forest. Charlotte plus 43.5 at Georgia. Kirby Smart is 0-15 against the spread as a 38 or more point favorite. So we're just going to ride the trend on this one. Trends are not something that I like, but I love getting 43.5 points. And if that can't make the Georgia game interesting, I don't know what can. We are going to go Michigan State, team total under 13.5 at Iowa. We've talked about this all season. Iowa is a different team at home. They have no quit, and they've played some really hard games at home here. They held Penn State to 24, Indiana to 20, Oregon to 18. I think that Michigan State should not be a challenge. This team has a lot of guys on the injury report. Road game for them at the end of the season, knowing they're not going to a bowl. I question effort as well for Michigan State. These last two are also kind of trends. We're just going to go back. I'm playing with fire here going against Colorado again, but Arizona State's only favored by a touchdown. Again, I think Colorado has quit. They showed a little fight late, but once again, the injury report is riddled for the Buffaloes here, and I just don't like their effort of what we've seen at the end of the year. And Illinois minus 7.5 at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's played much better football recently, and again, no quit in Wisconsin, and I'm not trying to lose more money, but Illinois' offense is good. This is not an offense that is going to be easily stopped. Their defense is better than a lot of what Washington has seen, or excuse me, a lot of what Illinois has seen. Freudian slip there, Washington recently. And I'm just not really buying into the fact that Wisconsin's offense just all of a sudden has been good. Better, absolutely. But I think Illinois is a much better squad than Wisconsin this year, and I just think that this line is a little too respectful to the home field advantage that Wisconsin has here. Before we get to props, let me remind you guys to track your bets, stay accountable, and level up by downloading the Betting Pros app. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. You can easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. You can create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get a 7-day free trial of Betting Pros Premium by using code JUICE, JUICE, and activating your trial on the upgrade screen. All right, let's get to the touchdowns. I like these touchdown calls this week. I liked them last week, and they didn't pan out, but we're going to hit a couple of the games that we've talked about already. We're going to go Iowa quarterback Mark Gronowski versus Michigan State. This dude at the goal line has been unstoppable this year. This one seems pretty easy. I think Utah is going to run up the score against Kansas State. Wayshawn Parker has scored 3 games in a row. I think he can get one here, the running back for Utah. South Carolina quarterback Lenora Sellers versus Coastal Carolina. I've been very, very, very critical of South Carolina's offense the entire season. It has been bad the whole year, but Coastal Carolina is an easy matchup for South Carolina, and the offense has looked way better. Obviously, the first half, that game was a disappointment, but Sellers can easily score in this game. We're going to go back to the well with Heinz King versus Pitt because it's back down to 1 touchdown instead of 2 touchdowns. So easy one over a half. I think we can get that. Florida running back Jayden Baugh versus Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is weak. I think that most opponents are going to score against them. And I think, what we've seen from DJ Lagway is when he turns the ball over, this offense is miserable. Even in that game against Kentucky, when they only scored the 1 touchdown, though, it was Jayden Baugh. So seems pretty safe against a weaker defense here. We're going to go USC quarterback Jayden Maiava under 247.5 passing yards at Oregon. This is just respect for the Oregon defense and the home field advantage here. We also saw, we saw USC go to Nebraska and struggle. This is the number 1 passing defense in the country. I think they're going to do a pretty good job of bottling up this pass game for USC. I'm on Oregon in that game. Obviously, didn't get into my picks, but I do like the Ducks. Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia over 1.5 passing touchdowns versus Kentucky. Again, big believer in the offense. We're on the team total over 31.5 for Vandy, and I think obviously Diego Pavia plays a massive part in that. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for him, and also over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Mason Heintschel, the quarterback for Pitt at Georgia Tech here. Again, we're on the over in this game. I think the passing offense feeds into what they do well, and Georgia Tech doesn't. We just saw Boston College put up a lot of passing yards on Georgia Tech as well, and this is a better offense than that. So I think this is an easy one. We're going to go back to Iowa. The running back Kamari Moulton over 92.5 rushing yards versus Michigan State. He's hit this, I believe, 2 or 3 games in a row. Michigan State has let the lead running back get to this total and way more 3 games in a row as well. And then 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1. Back to the well. Ryan Wingo hit for us last week. Arkansas's defense is not trustable at all. 121st in scoring, just very bad all the way around, specifically in the SEC. So he's probable. So again, we got to make sure he's going to play, but he's going to play. 65.5 receiving yards versus Arkansas. I think that's very doable. And then Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers over 65.5 yards versus Kentucky. Another Vanderbilt bet, but I really like this one. Eli Stowers is going to be the first tight end off the board, most likely, in the NFL draft, and he's had a massive amount of targets the last 2 weeks, over 20 targets the last couple weeks, and I think they're going to be able to hit that again against Kentucky. All right, let's get to the Hard Rock Bet of the week. Let me remind you guys that today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. It's that time of year when every day feels like a big game day. You've got pro football, college football, NBA, college hoops, hockey. It's all happening. And on Hard Rock Bet, there's always something to bet on. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet yet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but you get $150 in extra bonus bets. And if you're not sure what to place your first bet on, you can check out the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. It's loaded with trends, streaks, and stats to help guide your picks. Numbers don't lie, and neither does the data in there. Get the edge and bet with confidence. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, and it's coming to more states soon. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos every single day, so when you're listening, just open the app and check out and see what you've got any single day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit today. All right, the Hard Rock Bet of the week is going to be Vanderbilt. Again, I know you're shocked, versus Kentucky minus 9.5. Again, I poked holes in this Kentucky win streak. I do think that compared to the rest of the country, they're a pretty good team. Kentucky is. Compared to Vanderbilt, I don't think they're going to match up very well. Bob Stoops has these guys playing wishy-washy. I've seen them play some of the worst football I've ever seen and some very, very strong football. Obviously, a better team at home. So this being at Vanderbilt does not do them any favors. So Vandy minus 9.5. Just as soon as this crawled under double digits, I was all over it. So one of my favorite bets of the week and the Hard Rock bet of the week, Vanderbilt minus 9.5. Just to review everything, we've got a lot. It's kind of a spray and pray week, but I like a lot of these picks. We're going Washington State at James Madison under 42.5. We're going Vandy team total over 31.5 plus Vandy minus 9.5 versus Kentucky. Arkansas at Texas over 57.5. Utah minus 17.5 versus K-State. Pitt at Georgia Tech over 60.5. BYU minus 2.5 at Cincinnati. North Texas minus 18.5 at Rice and over 55.5. Charlotte plus 43.5 at Georgia. Michigan State team total under 13.5 at Iowa. Illinois minus 7.5 at Wisconsin, and Arizona State minus 7 at Colorado. The props, we're going touchdowns for Mark Gronowski, Wayshawn Parker, Lenora Sellers, Heinz King, and Jayden Baugh. For the quarterbacks, Jayden Maiava under 247.5 passing yards. Diego Pavia and Mason Heintschel over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Kamari Moulton, the running back for Iowa, over 92.5 rushing yards. Ryan Wingo, Texas wide receiver, over 65.5 rec yards. And tight end Eli Stowers for Vanderbilt, over 65.5 receiving yards. That is going to do it for me. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Good luck in your bets, and I will see you next week for the last week of the regular season. Take it easy, everybody.